Hello, my name is Tenisha Cherenfant. I am a National Sports Media Association intern with High Point University. Today, I'm joined by someone who's well known in the Raider Nation, is the host of Unnecessary Roughness on the Raiders Nation Radio 920, Q Myers. Q, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate you having me on. Thanks so much. This is gonna be fun.
Thank you. How was your day today?
It's good. I'm here at the scouting combine in Indianapolis. It's what's today? Wednesday, so it's day
Yes.
three, but really day two where there's some activities. There's some players that have come through and talked at the podium. Got a chance to talk to some coaches and GMs over the past couple days, including Raiders GM John Spytek yesterday and their head coach Clint Kubiak today. So it's been a very productive day, and it's still got half a day to go. So yeah,
Oh,
we're
a half
busy.
a
We're going.
day.
Yeah.
Okay. How's the weather up there? Is it cold?
Yeah, the weather stinks.
Oh.
The weather is overrated. The weather is disrespectful. The weather is ignorant. I've been calling it. I got on a plane in Vegas and it was 70 degrees, and I got off the plane in Indianapolis. It was 25. Like there's no
Mm.
reason for that. That's just plain disrespectful. So yeah,
Well, I hope you had your coat.
I do.
Okay,
Coat, beanie
good.
cap, everything. I mean, I'm prepared for the elements, but it's still I'm prepared for the elements, but I'm not prepared for the elements if you understand.
Right, right. Okay, so to get started in our interview, I wanted to start a little bit from the beginning and I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. I wanted to ask you what first got you started into sports media?
I was actually a guy that was doing music radio for the longest. Started out as an intern in San Francisco and kind of worked my way around the Central Valley and went to multiple radio stations as, just like I said, a hip hop DJ. And then I finally made my way to Texas in 2010 and realized I was starting to get older and the songs that I was playing on the regular weren't necessarily the songs that I wanted to play on the regular, if you understand what I mean. And so
Mhm.
I was always told by my mentor Victor Zaragoza that at some point he wanted to transition from music to sports, and so in my mind as a big sports fan, I always thought that that's kind of the same thing I wanted to do when I felt like I had had enough when it came to music. I wanted to at some point make a full-time move to sports, but I didn't really quite know how to do it. And in Texas, I just happened to be working in a radio station in a building that had ESPN in it as well, and so in order for me to take that job, I told the guy I would only take the job if I could work on ESPN too. And he told me that it wasn't up to him, but if the guy that is in charge says, "Yeah, you can do it," then he'd be okay with it. So that was 2000 and like I said, 10, 2011-ish, and by 2012, I found a way to get on the ESPN. But I was doing both stations. I was doing hip hop and sports at the same time. And then finally, after about a year of doing that, I was able to get on ESPN full time because when I first landed on ESPN, I wasn't getting paid anything. But they just said, "Well, we'll see if you can cut it. We'll see if you can make it. If you can hang with these guys." And I was like, "Man, can I hang with these guys? Do you know who I am? Like, you know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is open the door a little bit, and I'll do the rest." And so that was the beginning of it, really, in 2012, and here we are in 2026, and we're still going. So, really appreciative of the path, the journey, and the opportunity that I still have in front of me.
Okay, I love that because a lot of people hear you on the radio, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand or see the hard work or
Right.
gets put in behind the person that's speaking on the radio. So I feel like it's very important so people understand like I didn't just start from anywhere, but I started and I worked hard from when I started till now. So I love to hear that you did other radio backgrounds and then
Yeah.
you moved to sports. It's very encouraging for college students to hear that also like it's okay to try other things until you find what you're really passionate about.
Right.
So I want to move into the next part, which is like I know you cover one of the most passionate, very passionate fan bases in sports. And I wanted to ask you personally, what is it like covering Raider Nation every single day?
It's great, really, and just to give you a little bit of background, I mean, I'm a guy that's originally from the Bay Area, so I
Mhm.
was born and raised a Raider fan, right? And so I was just a fan of the team, growing up and watching them and going to the games at the Coliseum and having great stories to tell with my buddies. And I always felt when I was coming up that there wasn't enough outlets out there that were talking about the Raiders. I didn't feel like that there were enough times that even when they were a good team, were on Sports Center enough or whatever the case may be. So at some point, I always told myself that if I ever had an opportunity to talk about them, I would. I just didn't know how that was going to happen.
Right.
So I had a buddy that I actually met on Twitter, which is funny. This guy James Arcelana, and he decided he wanted to start a Raiders podcast. And this is by the time I'm in Texas already. It's 2012, and I'm
Hmm.
already starting to do, ESPN Central Texas and talking about the Cowboys, talking about, high school football, Baylor football. I'm talking about everything but the Raiders. And so he said on Twitter that he wanted to do a podcast, but he needed someone who can do the podcast with him. So I just wanted to talk about the Raiders. So I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it with you. And so we did it by way of Zoom, like once or twice a week in the 2016 season. And that was a great season for the Raiders. And so that podcast really caught up a lot of attention. It was the Black Hole Banter podcast. And, then another guy came along, David Locke, and said, hey, man, I want you to do this Raiders podcast called the Locked On Raiders podcast. And so I started doing that, not really knowing what I was doing, but I just wanted to do it because it was supposed to be just me talking about the Raiders for about 30 minutes every day. So I thought, okay, why not? And at the same time, I wanted to learn how to host a show by myself, so I wasn't a co-host, so I can actually be the host and I could be the main guy. And I wasn't doing that at the station I was at. I was a co-host, so I really didn't have that experience. It's one thing to be the guy that, people bounce ideas off of, but it's also another thing to be the guy that actually is the host and really in charge of everything. So I started doing that, and it became pretty popular. And then all of a sudden I started becoming really popular amongst Raider fans, and they started saying, hey man, I like the way that this guy tells stories, and the fact that it comes from a place of me being a Raider fan originally, but with the same knowledge and understanding and know-how of being able to cover the team where it's fair. I'm not putting, silver and black glasses on with it. It's just like, hey, this is what it is. They're not very good. I don't make it personal. But I also am not going to try to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to try to, tell you, I'm not trying to sell you, champagne wishes and give you malt liquor money. You know what I mean? Like I'm not
Right.
trying to do that. It's just like you got to keep it real. And since I
Yeah.
learned how to cover a team like the Cowboys and learn how to cover a team like the, Baylor and other college programs, I already knew how to do it. I just wasn't doing it with this team. And so then I got the opportunity to come to Vegas and cover the Raiders and work at Raider Nation Radio 920 and amongst other stations. And it was a perfect fit.
Okay, that makes it. Well, my next question was, did you always want to cover the Raiders? But I can see you're very passionate, and I'm very
Yeah.
happy that you got to cover something that you're really passionate about. So what is one misconception that fans have about the team or about like sports media in general that you think is very not true?
I think a lot of fans think that you're supposed to be a fan of the team that you cover,
Right.
and that's like the farthest thing from the truth. And matter of fact, it's very rare that you have the opportunity to cover a team that you're a fan of. And sometimes, well, no, not sometimes. A lot of times, it actually makes it harder because you are a fan of the team, and so you try not to cover them with fan glasses and, talk about, we this or us that. I mean, because we don't play for the team. We don't work for the
Right.
team. We don't, so we have to keep it objective. But a lot of times, fans will be like, well, why aren't you mad about this? Well, my job is not allowing me to be mad. I can't be mad. I can't be,
Right.
I have to be, objective. I have to be able to tell the story and give you the honest truth. So when you're talking to me or listening to me, you know that I'm giving you what it is. I'm not giving it to you from a fan's point of view. Now, there's a lot of outlets that you could be a fan, and there's a lot of great podcasts out there from fans, and they'll let it be known they're fans, and that's great. That's awesome. I have no problem with that. But if you're trying to do it professionally and you're trying to, really have credibility in what you're doing, it's, all the us's and the we's and all that stuff and the fan goggles, you have to take those off. And a lot of times it's really hard to do it. So most times you see people that aren't fans of a certain team covering that team because it makes it a lot easier to do your job.
Okay, so my next question to follow up off of your response is because you've been a fan of the Raiders, you're from the area, and this is something you've been really passionate about. How do you separate yourself as a fan and like someone that's down, like deep down from the South? And then how do you connect yourself, but also not make it too close, like not make your relationship too close?
Yeah, I just try to tell it how it is. I just try to be as open, as honest as possible. And I don't mind telling people that, hey, yeah, I'm a fan. I was a fan first and foremost, but this is the position that I'm in. This is what I'm paid to do. This is what my responsibilities are. And to give you a fair assessment, because I could come on here and I could tell you how great everything is. And then you go out there and you watch a game on Sunday and see it look completely different. You're like, wait, hold on. You just told me how great everything was. Well, I'm not being honest with you. So that's what it's really all about. And honestly, if I wasn't in Texas and I hadn't learned how to cover other teams and other programs and really learn from people that have been there, done that, I might not have known the differences. But since I started out covering a team that wasn't my favorite team, it was easy for me to take those same rules and kind of the apply those to what I do now. And so it helped me really take my game to the next level. With the same time, having the knowledge of the organization, knowing the games at the Coliseum, being able to share memories of when I was there and certain games and certain players. And so it gives me the knowledge built in, but at the same time, it gives me the ability to be objective. And that's what's most important when it's all said and done.
I like that. So have you ever had a moment where you had to like defend the team when using like your passion and like your roots? Or do you like never connect them ever when it comes to business?
No, I try not to connect it when it comes to business. I really don't. Now, there's times that I think that somebody will have an outside opinion on the team that I don't think is right or correct or fair. That's mainly what it is when I don't think that it's fair. When I think that someone's being really personal, I'll say that that's incorrect and this is why, but I'll give you the reason why.
Right.
Right. And if there's something I can say that I know from a place of like, hey, this guy is trying to win. This guy's doing everything that he can to win. Trust and believe when I see him at the facility, I know how much work he's putting in to try to be, great. I can do that and say that that's what's really going on. So when you might see him on Sunday and say, "Oh, this guy, he's not really trying," I'm like, "Oh no, he's putting in the work." Like I can come from that point of view as well and say that that's not true. Or if someone says, "Well, this coach said that," or this organization is going to do this, and no, that's not true. That's false, right? That's from people that I'm talking to that are there, and being there and talking to the coaches and talking to players, I can tell you 100% that that's false. So sometimes it does, it does come over where I can be not a buffer, but I could be like a guy that can at least set the record straight, and I think that that's fair.
Okay, I like that. So, my next to change the topic a little bit. So, I know you have a very large social media presence, especially on Twitter, and I wanted to ask, has that ever impacted the way you do your job?
Yeah, I mean it does because you'll get, tons of feedback and you'll get information sometimes and you can reach out to people. I book guests for my show sometimes by seeing something that they put on online and I'll reach out and hopefully get them, maybe in a DM and hey, can, you come on my show to explain this or whatever. And so it's been able to help me create a lot of good connections and like I said, really help make my show that much better. At the same time, a lot of times it impacts because it makes you that much more accessible to the fans. And when a fan is angry, then all of a sudden they want to start throwing all kind of crazy stuff at you. And some of the stuff I've read and seen and been DM'd is ridiculous, right? And stuff that I wouldn't repeat to my mother. But it's
Oh,
just
wow.
yeah, it just kind of is what it is. It's the nature. It's the good with the bad. You got to take them both, right? So I
Mhm.
try to respond to people that are negative to me. I try to respond to people that are positive. I don't want to just pick one side and say, okay, well, this is a positive response, so I'll respond to you, but I'm not going to respond to the negative one. No, well, let's talk about this. And a lot of times I try to be more sensible than most of the time people are online. Most of the time people are just like, tough guys on Twitter, and it's it's not very cool, but I try. I try to be reasonable and talk to people.
Okay, so then my next question is when incorporating like social media with your job, what do you think separates someone who lasts long in the industry and then separates someone from who doesn't last long?
I think knowing when to, I guess, kind of shut it down. Like if you go through, like there's certain ways that you talk to people, and regardless of how people talk to me, like I mentioned, all the people that will say some wild and crazy stuff, like I'll never give that response. A lot of times I'll say, "Oh, hey man, I tried to talk to you. Cool, I get it. Have a great day." And I'll
Mhm.
leave it alone like that because they want you to say something stupid where they can come back and screenshot it and send it out. Look what this guy said to me, or they
Right.
want you to send them a DM and be disrespectful, but I'm not going to do that because then
Mhm.
again, I have way more to lose than they do. So I just have to always remember that when someone's, being a little wild and that goes for anybody in this, business that really people always want to try to expose you or try to get you caught up in something and just got to be careful with it. So I try to take it with a grain of salt and not let it get me upset and take it too personal.
Okay, so always keep it professional.
Yeah.
Okay. So to close us out a little bit, for someone like me or others that are trying to break out into the sports media or the sports industry, what is the like best piece of advice you would give someone, and then what is the worst piece of advice you would give someone?
Well, I don't want to give anyone some bad advice.
Yeah.
But I guess the bad advice would be just, just do the bare minimum, right? You know, just do what your job description is. I guess that would be bad advice, right?
Mhm.
Because I always tell everyone I'm not the most talented guy, but I'm the guy who's going to outwork everybody. And
Right.
and that's going to be my claim to fame is that I'm the hardest working dude you'll ever meet. Like I'm not going to let you outwork me, and I don't care who you are, right? I'm going to win that battle of who's going to work the hardest. And
Right.
that's what I would tell anyone. If you want to get into the business, you want to be great, but work hard. Don't let the person next to you work hard because there's someone else while you're resting, you're hanging out, you're partying, someone else is working. Someone else is at the practice. Someone else is at the press conference. Someone else is on the Zoom call. Someone else is, at the combine. Someone else is at the draft. So, you know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
everything you can to be present, do everything you can to be noticed, do everything you can to work your tail off and provide the best product you can because hard work will always win. It's undefeated. It's like father time. Hard work is undefeated. You work hard, you'll get exactly what you want out of it at the end of the day.
So my last question for you is with all your experience before coming to the Raiders and now working at the Raiders long time, what is something that you wish you known earlier, or what is something that you wish you would have done earlier?
Um, Probably paid more attention in school. I mean, I never did, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to. There's many different ways to do it, but I think that, having a little bit more, less wasted time, when it came to school. And if I was going to go, I should have gone and really paid attention, but I wasted a lot of time not doing that. And kind of trying to find myself. And, it's like I said, there's many different ways to get it done, but when you don't really have that schooling and that backing, a lot of times what you have to do is a lot harder. You have to work a little bit harder, but at the same time, I mean, everything I got, all the experiences I learned, they're all valuable and they all pay off. So it's educating some way, somehow. I'm one of those guys that I don't want to waste time. I hate wasting time. That's my biggest pet peeve. I don't like to watch people waste time. It bothers me because you cannot get it back and you never know. It's like a 3 hour show that I have every single day. If I waste 30 minutes on my show, I only got 2.5 hours. I can never get that time back. So always be prepared, always be ready to go, and don't waste your time.
That is my biggest thing. And not a lot of people take that serious is like not understanding that time is literally limited.
Yep.
And the time that you do give someone, you really only have that time that they're giving
Yep.
you.
Yep.
But yes, okay. So thank you so much. I wanted to close it out a little bit fun and do like a little rapid questionnaire session.
Okay.
So, okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Best Raiders of all time.
Charles Woodson,
Most underrated Raider.
Napoleon Kaufman.
Dream interview guest.
Um, that's a good one. Hmm. I'd say Charles Woodson because I haven't had that interview yet. It's one that I want to definitely get. I haven't had the pleasure of getting that interview yet.
Okay. One word to describe the Raider Nation.
Passionate.
Passionate. I love that. No, they
Yeah.
are really. If you weren't in
Incredible.
radio, what is one thing you would be doing?
I'd be delivering packages for FedEx.
FedEx.
I had
That's
a job as a
specific.
FedEx ground delivery guy, and I had a really good time doing that.
Okay.
Got to meet a lot of people that I would never meet if I wasn't delivering packages to them. So I'm a people person, as you could tell, and so that would be what I was doing. I did sell Kirby's at one time too, so
Really?
I don't think door to door salesmen are really good anymore when it comes now that the ring cameras are
Yeah.
around. But yeah, I sold Kirby's too, so I was
I
good at
was,
that.
I did a door-to-door service when I was in high school and I didn't make that much sales, so I don't think they're really around anymore.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation, and I really appreciate you sharing your journey and insight. If there is any way that anyone can connect with you, please plug it right here. I would love everyone to connect with you, and please tune into the Raiders Nation because it is a lovely radio station. I do listen to it to myself personally.
At your boy Q254 on Twitter, at your boy Q Sports on Instagram. You can reach out to me. Do the Locked On Raiders podcast every day, Raider Nation Radio 920 every day. So unnecessary roughness, ESPN game night, do that Monday through Friday as well, 7 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. So I'm everywhere. I'm like a stop sign. I'm all around town.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Appreciate you.
Bye bye.